Well, whenever Premier League questions are asked of this Manchester City side, they provide the answers. Liverpool asked a question last night, drawing level on points with Pep Guardiola's side, and what an answer we've had here at Molineux. Kevin De Bruyne stepped up when City needed inspiration and provided it in the grand manner. 4 goals in a league game for the first time in his career, including his first ever Premier League hat-trick. Irresistible, particularly in the first half, where 3 of his 4 were given. In conversation, smiling with Leander Dendonck, who at one stage had Wolves level after De Bruyne had scored the first. But when De Bruyne hit the gas, Wolves were quite simply blown away. City moved 3 clear at the top of the Premier League. They improved their goal difference considerably, and they are now just 4 points away from a 4th Premier League title in 5 seasons. Manchester City doing exactly what they needed to do here at Molineux, Andy, and some performance from that man De Bruyne.
Yeah, the most important thing for City was picking up the 3 points. That was essential. They've done that. They've got 5 goals. That's a bonus. They could have had double figures. They were that good. It's given them a confidence boost as if they need it. Just a devastating team performance, but Kevin De Bruyne, just individually unstoppable.
Well, it's not all positive news for Manchester City, although there are many ticks in that positive column. Aymeric Laporte, the last fit centre-half they had coming into this game, with Nathan Ake still far from 100% fit. He limped off with a knee injury. There's a strong possibility that he may not be available on Sunday. So Manchester City will have to patch up that defence. Well, it didn't do them too much harm here today. They were breached once, but going forward, they were absolutely irresistible. They celebrate here with their fans with the air of champions, and it would take a brave man or woman to argue with the fact that when we wind up on 22nd of May, Manchester City will not have their hands on that trophy again. A thumping win at Molineux by 5 goals to 1.
He was right at the heart of everything good about Manchester City tonight. A lot of people thought this might be the game where Manchester City's charge could stall. Micah Richards, what have we seen from them this evening?
Of Wolves tonight, from start to finish, absolutely brilliant. Really was. I mean, the amount of times he gets in places where people can't pick him up. Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, excellent today. Foden playing his role, but it just shows everyone from when they lost against Real Madrid, have they got the character to come back and perform? They showed it against Newcastle, and they showed it away against Wolves today. And people was looking at this fixture thinking this will be hard, and they've shown everyone exactly why they're one of the best teams in Europe.
They have the class and they have shown the character as well tonight. It's a huge result for Manchester City in this title race. And a big result for Chelsea, who've been stalling recently as well. They've won 3-0 at Leeds tonight. Mount, Pulisic and Lukaku on the score sheet. Jesse Marsch scratching his head, thanking the Leeds fans for their support, but it has been fruitless tonight. Dan James sent off in the first half for them as well. And they find themselves in the bottom 3 at the end of another painful defeat. Vardy in the headlines again. Jamie scored twice for Leicester. Maddison adding a 3rd against Norwich City. Everton couldn't find a winner at Watford, but they have moved a point further away from the bottom 3 this evening. And Manchester City dismantling Wolves here by 5 goals to 1. Scan that QR code right now. It'll take you to all the goals and highlights from all of those games on the Sky Sports app. Manchester City 3 points clear of Liverpool with 2 games to go, and look at that goal difference surge as well. 7 superior now to Liverpool. Wolves stay in 8th place, their chances of a top 7 finish dwindling, and they still have to go to Anfield on the final day. And this is what it means for Leeds United. 2 games to go. They're in the bottom 3, courtesy of that horrendous goal difference. Burnley just outside the drop zone with a game in hand. Everton also, with 3 to play, now have a 2-point cushion. And the big games just keep on coming. in this penultimate week of the season. The North London derby, one of the biggest we've seen for years. Tomorrow night, Tottenham taking on Arsenal from 7. Then Manchester City move on to West Ham United on Super Sunday from 1. Can Everton beat Brentford to move a step closer to prolonging their stay in the Premier League? That's at 4. And then Arsenal have a huge job to do on the Monday Night Football at Newcastle United. And the thrilling World War II drama Das Boot returns with all episodes available on Sky Atlantic. Much more to come here tonight from Micah Richards and from Karen Carney. We'll be hearing hopefully from Kevin De Bruyne on what was a wonder show from him. Formidable performance from De Bruyne. 5-star City, and they are edging ever closer to the Premier League. Well, what a night this was for Manchester City. 5-1 winners here at Molineux tonight. They and their fans surely now starting to believe, with 4 points needed from the final 2 games and a 4-goal masterclass from Kevin De Bruyne. 16 attempts from City to Wolves 7. They scored with all 5 attempts on target, and Wolves just had no answer. His first City hat-trick, he wasn't finished there. He's just the 4th player to score 4 goals for Manchester City, and he even had time to come so close to adding a 5th. But I think he was pretty happy with his night's work. How close is City now, Micah?
Yeah, they're so close. I said before, if they would win against Newcastle, that would give them the confidence that they would need. They come into this game with so much confidence, and they started quick. They didn't allow the goal when Wolves pulled one back to sort of throw them off the game. They stuck to the principles, and it was a brilliant watch. It's a lovely game of football. When you talk about Man City and the way they play, that is exactly what they want to do.
Someone's coming to join us, Micah. The man of the moment. Congratulations on a brilliant night's work.
Wow.
Hi, congrats.
They've been talking about, well, with a lot of superlatives, Kevin, about how impressive you were tonight. How would you describe your evening?
Yeah, pretty nice. Now, you know, when you score 4 goals, it's always something special. Should have been 5, to be honest. But I think we played well, except a couple of counters in the first half. I think we controlled the game really well, and I think we couldn't even score more. And to do that against a Wolves team that's defensively really sound, that was impressive.
Did you find right from the start that you were able to find little pockets of space and exploit them?
Yeah, I think our front 4 were able to find the right moments to go deep or come in, and you know, I think. When Bernardo was tucking in, I was trying to go deep, and vice versa. And then, you know, with Phil and Raz, they have such good movement in behind that it worked really well. But I think the team did really well today.
And I'm sure you'd have been aware as the game was going on. 1 goal with the left foot, 2 goals with the left foot, and you weren't finished there.
Well, it's just. Whenever you get the opportunity, don't hesitate. You know, my right is my stronger foot, but I'm never afraid to shoot with the left. And even if it doesn't go in, it creates a problem for the opposition, because they maybe if you shoot a lot, maybe they will press you, and then there will be a moment to pass the ball in behind. So it's just a combination from either or.
That's 15 for the season now, Kevin. Your best scoring season. You aware of that?
Yeah, now I am.
And the team is scoring goals as well. I mean, 22 in the 5 games since you drew with Liverpool.
Yeah.
How significant do you think that is?
Well, it depends what happens in the next 2 games. Obviously, we know at the moment we have a little bit of an advantage in goal difference, but even 7 with Liverpool, that can happen, because goal difference is only going to work if we lose a game. So that's already -1 of a minimum. So I think we just need to concentrate on Sunday. It's going to be a really tough game at West Ham, the last game at home, so we need to recover and be ready.
How important was the reaction as well after last week? And we know how disappointed you were and the whole team was with what happened in Madrid.
Well, it's very difficult to explain because it was just a mad 5 minutes, and it's not that we played bad or or something. It was just 5 minutes where we can't explain as a player, and that makes it a little bit like, I don't know what happened. I was out of control on the bench anyway, so you feel a little bit, I would say, in a shock, because yeah, it's not nice, and the feeling is still not nice, but you need to move on. We're trying to now win the title, and whatever happened, unfortunately it happened, and you have to move on.
Every time I watch you, Kevin, you seem to pop up on the left, on the right, and the centre. Where do you think your best actual position is? Where's the position you like to deploy from the most?
Well, I think when we play in a midfield three, it's like between a number 8, number 10. It's whatever. I think central, I'm the best. You know, obviously I think I make more movements outside, but when I go from inside to outside, I'm stronger. So I think that's probably my best position. But I think playing my career different position, I learned how to understand what my teammates want. But yeah.
Kevin, what was your favourite goal tonight?
I think the third one, because that I think that strike is the cleanest. I think you know, I hit it really hard in the corner, and you know, I think out of the three that was the purest, I would say.
Is it because you'd scored the first two that you had the confidence to go and do that? Or would you normally be driving and hitting from there? And the celebration, by the way, as well, is how significant is this?
Well, I did a couple of interviews, and they said with Haaland. I didn't even know. I just did it because I scored 3. That never happened. So. But yeah, I don't know. You just take your opportunity. If you miss, you miss. It doesn't matter. You know, you make mistakes in the game and you go again, and I'm okay with that.
So how do you see it now? Liverpool obviously win last night. You would have watched that from wherever you were. Then you respond tonight. Then it's you up next before Liverpool go again.
It's a little bit crazy. I think the standards we both said, you can only respect it, and you know, they've played everything until the end of the season, so we know how hard that is, and I think both teams have ultimate respect, and we play hard. That's the only thing that we can do. Now we have to prepare ourselves, and like I said, West Ham, they've done really well, and that's not going to be an easy game. But we're going to try and go there and win the game, and whatever happens, we'll see.
We look forward to watching it on Sunday. Thanks so much for joining us, Kevin. Congratulations tonight. Well played.
Thank you. Thank you.
So off they go, and they'll depart very quickly back to Manchester and get themselves wrapped in cotton wool, I guess, for another big test on Sunday. What impressed you most, Karen, about goals aside, really?
I just think he took the game by the scruff of his neck. His positional sense. I was curious whether to ask him or not to think about, is that instructed or did he actually sense it? Because I felt he sensed it tonight. I felt it was a spare player, and he went into pockets of areas that Micah was speaking about, and no one picked him up, and it was from the first minute. And when you have a weakness that Wolves gave and had that spare player, he punished them, and they couldn't get back in the game, and he was just clinical.
And that's why I asked him that, because many games when you watch him, he pops up on the left, he puts on the right. Today he was in that central role. He's one touch, two touch, running in behind and creating space was just, they didn't know how to live with him. So I was intrigued to see what is sort of how he was going to approach the game today.
The numbers are stacking up for him, aren't they? It's just an extraordinary success story for Manchester City. Have a look at that. The company that he's in as well, Karen.
Yeah, look, and Harry Kane, Salah, Vardy, all strikers. Kevin De Bruyne is a midfielder, so you got to give him credit for that. And like Mike said, he can play in all different positions, and you know, his assists as well. Add that together, it's just ridiculous, really, what he can offer to this team. And the scary thing is now who they've gone and signed. So how's that combination going to work with him and how those stats going to affect that, and I'm sure it's only going to go further up.
Do you think, Micah, there were those that were questioning him last week in Madrid? I think we were all surprised to see him come off after 70 minutes, and of course, as he said himself there, he couldn't affect it from the bench, and he had to watch in shock as Madrid managed to come through that game. But do you think he felt maybe this was going to drive him on into the kind of performance that we've seen here?
Yeah, he would have been disappointed in Real Madrid just because they did manage to keep him quiet. You know, it's Kevin De Bruyne, you're going into that game, you expect him to have a big impact. But for whatever reason, the way Madrid set up, he wasn't allowed to get into these pockets of spaces. Maybe it's because they dropped a little bit deeper and he found it hard to get into them. But he would have been disappointed. And when you get disappointment in football, you have to react.
Yeah,
and that is exactly
Michael,
what he
would
did.
you not have kept him on for a moment?
Well,
Big players might go quiet for a little bit and then they step up and they turn up.
It's actually strange because when Pep made the sub, Man City go and score, so you would think actually it's but to have that player, especially going into extra time, you want that quality of player on the pitch. But the manager made a decision, and then Man City sort of crumbled after. Had they had him on the pitch, you've seen what he did today. It might have been different.
He is capable of winning games single-handedly, as we've seen here this evening, and Manchester City move on to West Ham United this coming Sunday, live with us on Sky Sports. And when we come back, we'll get you reaction from the manager as well, Pep Guardiola's thoughts to come, and we'll have a look at all the goals in detail for you as well. City building momentum towards a fourth title in 5 seasons, and they're doing it in style. The goals are racking up as well. 5 here tonight at Molineux, and Pep Guardiola's talking to Greg Whelan.
Pep, 3 more points, 4 added to the goal difference. Give us your thoughts on what you've seen out there tonight.
Exceptional. Make a really good performance. We concede some transitions because when we contact with the 3 quarters, we're a little bit in a hurry to take the right decisions, but it's normal because we clear the pass and the movements in behind. But we play really well in this stadium that we know how difficult it is. And 3 more points and rest and West Ham.
Are we running out of superlatives to describe Kevin De Bruyne, do you think?
He's playing the last 2 or 3 months, and especially in the Premier League, have been outstanding. In Champions League as well. So, he has been our key man in the last part of the season, alongside for the effort for all of them.
You used the word outstanding, but you, as a former midfielder, have you seen many more outstanding individual displays from a midfield player?
No. So it's not just what he created and the goals and everything. So he helped us a lot with. I'm happy because always Kevin had the sense for the assists too. He's so generous and always thinking what is the best for the team. But always we try to push him. We have to win games. We have to score goals. And this year I think is the more prolific year in this sense.
There were some terrific goals out there, but this was a night for character too, as well, wasn't it?
Did you have any doubts after what these guys have done in the last 5 years? So they have personality and character. They have everything. They have everything what they have to be a football player.
Particularly when Wolves came back into the game, and you said Wolves would be a difficult test. The way your team responded at that point was key, wasn't it? So because always we concede a goal when we don't deserve it, but when the opponent is better. So. But in that moment, we're controlled. We start really well. We score a goal, and after one transition, we defend not properly well, so we concede a goal. And after we found the goal quick and helped us a lot. When you see your team perform like that, and the way they did the other day against Newcastle, how excited are you by the prospect of the likes of Haaland coming and adding to that mix?
It's a decision for of course, all of us, the club, make a good sign for the future, come for many, many years, hopefully. And I'm pretty sure he will adapt perfectly to our team, but will be next season.
And how excited are you working with him?
I'm excited in my job, and of course I like to work with good players because the players make you make you a good manager. And of course, he's an incredible young talent with a perfect age. You know, and hopefully, I'm pretty sure we're going to help him to settle as best as possible.
One worry tonight, Aymeric Laporte. You took him off in the second half. Yeah. How much of a concern for the weekend?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, of course. Him and Fernandinho, they got to send off for the problems they had. We'll see. Well, 4 days for West Ham.
Great result tonight, but in your own mind, how quickly are you already thinking about West Ham?
Right now, not to rest, but tomorrow we're going to think about West Ham.
Appreciate your time.
And he's off. The focus switches straight away, Micah.
Yeah, it does, and you always say the next game. They've done the job tonight, and then West Ham. But West Ham's going to be difficult, you know. Man City played excellently well today, but West Ham will be a different challenge. I thought Wolves were a little bit naive at times. You know, with West Ham, they're going to fight right to the end, so it's another big challenge.
Well, did we see that naivety in the 7th minute when Kevin De Bruyne actually made his mark on this game?
Yeah. I mean, when you're coming up against Man City, there's going to be periods where they're going to have all the ball. So I just thought the way they conceded, it was very naive. You know, with Kevin getting into them space, you've got to get tight with him so early in the game. Yes, it's a brilliant finish. Yes, he's a brilliant player, but it's too easy for him to receive it within the space and then not, you know, track the run. But from a Man City point of view, it's a brilliant, brilliant goal.
We talked at the start, Karen, about how Wolves could actually hurt City. I don't think we expected them to do it with their very first attack, but they did have that threat on the counter, didn't they?
Well, we saw it last week against Chelsea, and it was no different here. You know, breaking in, it's great play from Jimenez, and they're on the back foot then, Manchester City, and it's decision-making, and credit to Neto, finds the spare player, and it's a great finish, and you know, it's difficult for anyone to get back from City. They flooded everyone forward, and Dendoncker tidy finish, and nothing could be done. But then this man is frustrated. But how do you respond?
Don't make him angry.
Exactly.
Whatever you do.
Exactly. Don't anger him. But you know, again, he's running off the bat, like Mike has said. That third man run. I watched Xavi talk about it at Barcelona. It's something they focused on so much, and look, he epitomises that. You know, see him there. He's not disinterested, and then all of a sudden burst through into that space. Conor Cody's gone tight, leaves it, vacates it, and they struggled, Wolves, being a back four and then a 5 at times, and gets his little bit of luck trying to find Sterling, and he's ready and pounces on the second ball there.
This was a brilliant one, wasn't it, Dave?
His favourite.
It was, just the way he managed. It's on his weaker foot to manage to get the precision finish. Keeper, absolutely no chance.
That's a heck of a tool to have in your bag, isn't it, Karen? If you as an opposition don't know if he's going to shoot with his right foot or cross with his right foot or even come across on the left and find the precision like that.
But also the power to drive with it. That's something that is, you know, need you to be more prolific, and you give him that opportunity, and he's clinical. And you know, they didn't have too many shots on target tonight, but the ones that they did, they buried.
There are not many players in world football that have that ability, though, are there? No,
and I think he senses the game. I know Man City are really choreographed in how they play, but that he just senses the game, and that's why he's one of the best. He senses the space, he senses opportunities, and sometimes you can't defend against him, and that was one of those nights tonight.
You said, Micah, the next goal at 3-1 at half-time was going to be crucial in this game.
Yeah, but just because, you know, if Wolves score the next goal, they get the crowd behind them, and you don't know what's going to happen. But again, Kevin De Bruyne involved, whether it's running in behind, whether it's 1 touch, 2 touch. But if you just watch his run there, he doesn't switch off. And a lot of people will talk about, yes, well, he got a little bit lucky. But it's making you wait into the box to give you that opportunity to get these goals. Sterling could have scored today, a tap-in as well. Unfortunately, he didn't do it. He's hit the post as well with another opportunity. And this is why when people talk about Man City and the striker and Haaland potentially not fitting into their style of play, some of the times when Man City are attacking, all you have to do is peel to the back post, and you've got a tap in there for you. So, yes, but it was Kevin De Bruyne's show today. Excellent, it really was.
That's what Jurgen Klopp said. He's going to score so many goals at the second post, said Klopp. We'll come on to Haaland and that conversation shortly. But at the end, were Wolves a little bit ragged, Karen, as Manchester City got the sense that goal difference might be the target for them?
Well, look, when they're playing 1 touch from a goalkeeper and then they get into the final third then, and it's credit to Jack Grealish, he finds out the pass. I'm sure he'd be gutted he didn't get the assist. Well, in the build-up to that, they're all 1 touch until Jack got the ball. And then it's just about picking the right pass. And again, as Micah said, back post, little tap in for Raheem. That's exactly where you want him to be. But when they play one touch and they play forward and they play those penetrating passes, no team in the world can stop them.
It was 5. It might have been more, in truth.
Yeah, like I said, De Bruyne hits the post with his left foot, I think it was, and Sterling missed a sitter, and it's just the confidence and the way they play. A lot of people talking about Man City when they get into the final third, but they produce so much opportunities. It's just about them taking it, and especially at the right moments. In Madrid, they didn't take their opportunities, and they got punished for that. But tonight, they really, put their foot on the gas.
What about the big negative for Manchester City? We hope to get news of this shortly from...
It didn't look good. And when you get something like this, you just think he'd come off, because he tried, to play through the plane. He was waving to the bench. You can see he wasn't 100% right after he got that knock. And I just wish he'd come off earlier. But, you talk about Stones, Diaz, Laporte now. Ake come on and did really well. But, it's worrying times, especially going to West Ham at the weekend.
Yeah, West Ham, you would think, are a team who might be able to take advantage of that kind of situation, Karen?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's all in Manchester City's hands. It's on them. But like you said, West Ham are not no easy team. We've seen that in Europe this season for them and in the Premier League, and they have some good counter-attacking players as well. And you're looking at the injuries that Micah just said. West Ham are going, well, how do we affect their back line? How do we affect these centre-backs that could play there? But I expect Man City to win both games. It's going to be difficult for Liverpool, in my opinion, to affect that because it's not in their hands.
Yeah, so if Manchester City go and beat West Ham United, could be all over, Micah, if Liverpool, well, it will be, if Liverpool don't beat Southampton.
It's just been an extraordinary season. Liverpool and all the competitions they're still in. Man City, having to overcome the Champions League and still put in great performances. What can Man City get? 95 points? And what can Liverpool get? 92 points? We're talking about 95 and 92 points. Whoever loses, it'll be disheartening for them, because to put in week in, week out these performances and still come second. But it just shows you how good both these teams are.
And for Wolves, it feels like the top 7 probably is beyond them this season. Carlos Queixada is doing their media duties this evening, and he's been talking to Greg Whelan.
Carlos, commiserations. Whatever plans you had tonight, did one Manchester City player, more or less finish them off?
Yeah, when you have players like De Bruyne, always can change the game. You can have a strategy, but when it comes to players like this, can score 4 goals and finish the game.
When you come up against a player in that kind of form, is there a great deal that you can do, to be honest?
Yeah, with that performance, we can do nothing about it.
You kept going. Even at 3-1 down, you still looked to be a threat. How did you feel you could get back into the game? How did you see your way back?
We play against the top team. They get strong on the game. We're good on spells. We have a good response to the goal. So we draw. Then we have a few counter-attacks. We try to keep a little bit more the ball, try to control a little bit more the game. Suddenly they scored 2 goals quite quickly. We lost a little bit on the second half. We tried to correct a couple of situations, and suddenly they scored the 4th and the 5th. We try all the time to come back to through the result. We can, so this is the final result, nothing.
One plus point tonight. Chiquinho, you gave him his Premier League debut. What did you think of his contribution?
He came on a couple of times. He plays well. The manager find the right time to give his opportunity to come on, to show himself, and he did really well. Good performance from Chiqui.
2 games still to go. Do you have to accept now that a top 7 finish and European football is probably beyond you?
We don't look at the things like that. We look at the things game by game. We lost this game. We have Norwich. We try to collect much points as we can until the end of the season, so we have 6 points to fight.
We talked before the game, didn't we, about how a good home performance in front of your own fans was important after Brighton. Do you feel you got that tonight?
I think they watch a good game. They can watch the character. We try to come back all the time to the game. Even losing to 1, 3-1, 4-1, we always try to be a threat for the other team to come back to the game.
Carlos, appreciate your time.
Thank you, thanks.
Thank you very much.
A reminder that Bruno Lage, the Wolves manager, has watched this game as he did the game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on Saturday from the Wolves training centre, and he's been relaying messages by phone and indeed by Zoom before the game and at half-time. It's not ideal, is it, Karen, when you're playing against a team like Manchester City? It feels like you need everything going in your favour.
You do, and you need to sense things, and obviously he's put in Chiquinho, and you're thinking, could he have moved him in a different area, maybe, especially with the centre-backs of Man City potentially being a little bit vulnerable at times, but it's difficult. You're playing the team that are going to go on and probably win the Premier League, and you're not there. Can't help them, and it's difficult.
I love Chiquinho today. There was a moment
he terrified you
in
today.
that first half where he just put the afterburners on. I was like reminiscent of Traore, and I just thought for someone making their steps in the game, I thought he impressed tonight. Man City are going to have a lot of the ball, and sometimes you've got to just do the counter-attack. But I thought those areas to his game was brilliant. Yes, he can, his final ball will come, of course.
Raw, isn't he?
Of course, young players are. But there was something in his game that he was fearless tonight when he got his opportunity, and I thought he did really well tonight.
If the Wolves' season was to end now, Karen, how would you reflect on it? First season for Bruno Lage.
I think they've improved from last season. I really do think they have. They went out first part of the season, and I think they obviously struggled at the first part, and then they bounced back, and I thought, okay, this is where we're seeing this Wolves team. But I think for me that they're still in that transition. I still think the midfield is technically good, but I still think they need like a holding midfielder just to break it up, and obviously need goals. They have not scored many this season. You can't rely on your defence or 1-0 to get your points and stay in the top half of the table. So there's still recruitment that needs to be done.
Do you sense, Micah, it could actually be a big summer for Wolves in that recruitment area, particularly in midfield? João Moutinho, as we know, is out of contract. Ruben Neves has been linked, as he has been for a long time, with a move elsewhere.
I think they've got a basis of something really good. Like Karen said, a little bit inconsistent, but that's always going to happen. And had injuries. We don't talk about injuries. They've had loads of players out throughout the season. But that midfield area, the way Kevin De Bruyne was exploiting that space, and after the first time he goes in there and runs off you, you think, well, let's just drop a little bit and let him have De Bruyne in front of him. But they didn't suss it out. It's almost like they kept making the same mistakes, and that, they have to address that. They're good footballers, but defensively and people running off the bat, they need to improve on that.
Changing times as well at Manchester City this summer. And remember, this is a team that scored 145 goals in all competitions this season. But there's a goal machine on the way.